Why retirement is becoming impossible for average Americans is not just a headline. It is a reality that millions of people are slowly waking up to, and for many the realization is frightening. For generations, retirement was seen as a reward for decades of hard work, a time to rest, travel, spend time with family, and live with dignity. Today, that vision is fading, and for a growing number of Americans, retirement no longer feels achievable at all for a long time. The promise was simple: work hard, save consistently, and one day you will be able to stop working without fear. But that promise was built on systems that no longer function the way they once did. Pensions have disappeared, wages have failed to keep up with inflation, and the cost of living has risen faster than most people ever imagined. As a result, millions of people are approaching retirement age with anxiety instead of relief. The first major problem is income. Average wages in America have barely increased when adjusted for inflation, while everyday expenses have exploded. Housing, healthcare, food, transportation, and utilities now consume a much larger share of income than they did for previous generations. This leaves little room for savings, and without savings, retirement becomes a distant dream rather than a plan. Many Americans want to save for retirement, but simply cannot afford to. After paying rent or a mortgage, groceries, insurance, gas, childcare, and debt payments, there is often nothing left at the end of the month. People are not spending recklessly, they are trying to survive. When saving becomes optional, retirement becomes uncertain. Another major factor is the disappearance of pensions. In the past, many workers relied on employer-funded pensions that guaranteed income for life. Today, most private sector pensions are gone, replaced by 401k plans that place all the risk on the worker. Market crashes, poor investment choices, and high fees can wipe out years of savings in a short time, leaving people vulnerable just when they need stability the most. Healthcare costs are another crushing burden. Even with Medicare, many retirees face high premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket expenses. Prescription drugs, long-term care, and unexpected medical emergencies can destroy retirement savings quickly. People fear getting sick not just because of health concerns, but because of the financial devastation it can bring. Social Security was never meant to be the sole source of retirement income. Yet for many Americans, it is becoming exactly that. The average Social Security check is often not enough to cover basic living expenses, especially in areas with high housing and healthcare costs. Many retirees are forced to keep working just to make ends meet. Debt is also playing a huge role in this crisis. Previous generations often entered retirement debt-free, but today, many Americans carry mortgages, credit card balances, student loans, and even medical debt well into old age. Debt does not disappear when you stop working, and servicing that debt without a steady income becomes extremely difficult. Housing is another major challenge. Homeownership was once the cornerstone of retirement security, but rising home prices and rents have changed that. Many older Americans still rent and face rising costs year after year with no protection. Even homeowners are not immune. Property taxes, maintenance, insurance, and repairs constrain limited retirement income. The emotional impact of all this cannot be overstated. People who spent their lives working hard feel betrayed by a system that promised security but delivered uncertainty. Stress, anxiety, and depression are becoming common among those nearing retirement age, who fear they will never be able to stop working. Younger generations are watching this unfold and drawing their own conclusions. Many no longer believe retirement is possible at all. Instead of planning to retire, they plan to work as long as their health allows because they see no other option. This shift in mindset is changing how people view work-life balance, and the future. Economic instability has made everything worse. Market volatility, inflation, and global uncertainty make long-term planning incredibly difficult. People hesitate to invest when they fear losing what little they have, yet keeping money in cash means losing value over time. There are no easy choices, and every option feels risky. Technology and the changing job market also contribute to the problem. Older workers often face age discrimination, job insecurity, and difficulty adapting to new tools. Losing a job later in life can be devastating because finding another one is harder, and rebuilding savings becomes nearly impossible. The cost of long-term care is another looming threat. Nursing homes, assisted living, and in-home care can cost tens of thousands of dollars per year. Most Americans are not prepared for these expenses, and many families are forced to make heartbreaking decisions when loved ones need care. What makes this crisis even more troubling is how quiet it is. There is no single moment when retirement suddenly becomes impossible. It happens slowly through missed savings contributions, rising expenses, and postponed plans. By the time people realize the full impact, it is often too late to make meaningful changes. This is not just a personal issue, it is a societal one. A generation unable to retire affects the entire economy. Older workers staying in the workforce longer can limit opportunities for younger workers, while increased financial stress places pressure on healthcare systems, social services, and families. Despite all this, many Americans continue to push forward, hoping things will improve. Some downsize, move to cheaper areas, or take on side jobs. Others rely on family support or delay retirement indefinitely. These strategies help in the short term but do not solve the underlying problem. Understanding why retirement is becoming impossible is the first step toward addressing it. It requires honest conversations about wages, healthcare, housing debt, and the systems that shape financial security. Without change, the gap between expectation and reality will continue to grow. Now millions of Americans are facing a future they never expected, one where retirement feels uncertain, fragile, or completely out of reach. This reality is reshaping how people think about work, money, and aging, and it raises important questions about what kind of society is being built. The dream of retirement once symbolized stability and reward. Today it symbolizes fear and uncertainty for many. Recognizing this shift is essential, not to spread panic, but to create awareness and understanding. Only by acknowledging the problem can individuals, communities, and policymakers begin to search for solutions. Retirement is becoming impossible not because people failed, but because the system changed around them. And until that reality is fully understood, the struggle will continue quietly affecting millions of lives across America.